Hello everyone, today we are in your science book on page 62, talking about physical properties. When God created matter, He gave it many characteristics. Some of these are called physical properties. A physical property is a characteristic of a substance that can be observed without changing the identity of the substance. Some physical properties are easy for us to observe with our senses. The color, texture, and smell of a substance can usually be readily observed. Other properties can be harder to observe. These properties include things like a substance's density or its ability to conduct electricity. Whether easy or hard to observe, these characteristics are all important because they help us distinguish one substance from another. States of matter. One physical property of matter is whether it is a solid, liquid, or gas. These properties are called the states of matter. Almost all matter on the earth is in one of these states. All matter is composed of tiny particles that are always in motion. These particles attract each other. This attraction tends to hold the particles together. The motion of the tiny particles and the strength of their attraction determine a substance's state of matter. Solid. A desk, a pencil, and a book are all solids. Solid is the state of matter in which a substance has a definite volume and shape. If you put a pencil in a glass, the pencil stays in its own shape. It does not take on the shape of the glass. The particles that make up a solid do vibrate, but they do not move very much. They have a strong attraction to each other. This strong attraction keeps the particles close together and allows solids to keep their shape. Liquid. Water, juice, and soft drinks are all liquids. Liquid is the state of matter in which a substance has a definite volume but not a definite shape. A liquid takes the shape of the container that it is in. The same amount of liquid can be poured from a tall, thin container into a short, wide container. The liquid's volume stays the same even though the shape of the liquid changes. The particles in liquids move more than the particles in solids do, yet the attraction between the particles is still strong enough to keep the matter from completely spreading apart. Gas. Air in a tire and helium in a balloon are examples of gases. Gas is the state of matter in which a substance does not have a definite shape or a definite volume. Like liquids, gases take the shape of their containers. But unlike solids or liquids, gases can also expand to fill the volume of their containers. Gases are also different in that they can be easily compressed. Perhaps you have seen a balloon being filled from a tank of helium gas. The gas in the tank is compressed. Only a small amount of helium gas is released into each balloon, but the gas expands to fill and inflate the balloon. The particles in gases are very active. They have only a weak attraction to each other. Because of this, gas particles spread apart until they meet a barrier that contains them. Fantastic facts. We often talk about the three states of matter, but most of the matter in the universe is made up of a fourth type called plasma. Plasma occurs only at very high temperatures, such as those found on the sun. On the Earth, plasma naturally occurs in a lightning bolt. Man-made plasma causes a fluorescent light to shine. Some scientists think plasma may have great potential as a future energy source. Changing states of matter. People cannot create or destroy matter. Only God can. In John 1:3, the Bible reminds us that all things were made by God. However, matter can change in different ways. If you use a hammer to break a rock into smaller pieces, the rock changes in size, but the pieces are still rock. The rock has had a physical change. A physical change is a change in matter that does not form a new substance. A physical change also occurs when matter changes from one state to another. Ice cream is usually a solid. It has a definite shape and a definite mass. But if you leave it out of the freezer for a while, it will change to a liquid. It has the same mass, but it will take the shape of whatever container you put it in. The ice cream has not changed into another substance, nor has it lost or gained matter. The ice cream just changed its form or state of matter. The temperature at which a substance changes from one state of matter to another is one of its physical properties. This physical property can help us describe and identify different kinds of matter. An ice cube is the solid state of water. An ice cube has its own shape and volume. If you take the ice cube out of the freezer, though, the ice starts to change to a liquid. This process of a solid changing to a liquid is called melting. The temperature at which a solid changes to a liquid is called its melting point. Different solid substances melt at different temperatures. Ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but lead melts at about 328 degrees Celsius or 622 degrees Fahrenheit. Most metals have very high melting points. Knowing information about how a solid melts allows us to use that solid in ways that can help others. Matter can also change from a liquid to a solid. If you put an ice cube tray of water into the freezer, the water freezes into solid ice cubes. The process of a liquid changing to a solid is called freezing. We usually think of freezing as meaning something is cold, but in science, a substance does not have to be cold to be frozen. Any substance that is changing from a liquid to a solid is freezing. Another word that we could use to describe this is solidifying. Think about a piece of solid chocolate. The chocolate can be melted to use for cooking, but if melted chocolate is left at a cool room temperature, it will change back to a solid. It does not have to be in a freezer to freeze or solidify. The temperature at which a substance changes to a solid is its freezing point. The melting point and the freezing point of a substance are the same temperature. Another way matter can change is from a liquid to a gas. This can be harder for us to see, but it happens all around us. The process of a liquid changing into a gas is called vaporization. A liquid is boiling when vaporization is occurring throughout the liquid and bubbles of gas rise and break away from the liquid's surface. The temperature at which this occurs is called the boiling point. Different substances have different boiling points, just as they have different melting points. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Evaporation is another form of vaporization. A substance evaporates when it changes from a liquid to a gas at a temperature below its boiling point. Evaporation occurs only at the surface of a substance. You may have noticed a puddle of water that gradually dried up during the day. The water did not boil, but it did change to a gas through evaporation. A substance can also change from a gas to a liquid. This process is called condensation. Perhaps you have set a cold glass of liquid on a table. After a little while, you saw drops of water on the outside of the glass. Water vapor in the air has cooled and changed back into a liquid. The condensation point is the temperature at which a gas turns to a liquid. We often see water changing states, but in certain conditions, almost all matter changes states. Even iron can get hot enough to change to a vapor. The condition at which a substance changes states is a physical property that helps scientists identify the substance.